why the hell am I ashamed that I teach dance?
I had my moment too where it was like, I needed $1 to my name. I did not tell anyone.
Maybe I should just do something else. Like if it was meant for me, would it be this difficult?
Don't be ashamed of your side hustle. And to be a girl who knows about sports but is confident.
Yes, totally. Let's do it. Like, I had no idea what I was doing.
You gotta hustle.
You know, it was very, very fortunate. I went from being on TV at SFL, being on TV for NBC6. Football season came around. I went to my boss and I said, hey, I would love to be on sports radio.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to episode 7. That's crazy that we're already on episode 7 of Millennial Girls. I'm Racquel and
I'm Natasha.
And I normally say I'm the blonde, but I've been pink. You know, got bored in quarantine. I feel like a tangerine, like, lollipop cotton candy dream right now.
You are a starburst.
Oh, I am a starburst. And we're super excited for this episode because this episode is sponsored, and it is sponsored by Formula Z Cosmetics. They're 100% vegan, cruelty-free. I mean, guys, this look is just like everything we wanted in life. If you're watching on YouTube, there's just a lot of shimmer going on both of our ends.
I'm having a full-on like moment. Like I'm doing a close-up here for you guys.
I know.
Just don't mind any of my pores or anything. Just look at the green, glowy, glittery craziness.
It's just amazing. We will be talking more about that later. Don't you worry. But this episode is going to be a little bit, I think it's going to be a little bit lighter. The last 2 episodes were, you know, an eye-opening experience for me. I shared a very personal experience about dealing with anxiety. We had our good friend Zach Martino on, and honestly, like, it's been really, really helpful for me just to talk about it, and we've had really good feedback, and it means a lot to the both of us just to be able to share such personal stories and information with you guys, and you guys aren't really, and you're not judging, so that's so great. I love it.
And before we get into this episode, I just want to say that I'm extremely proud of Racquel for even, you know, stepping outside of herself and actually expressing that to all of you. So show her some love on social media, because it was really brave of her to do that. It's not something that she's ever done before, so I'm really proud of her for doing that.
Thank you. I mean, I'm so thankful too to have you, Natasha, to be able to actually, you know, walk me through it and like be okay, and you did it in such a good way. So grateful. We're very grateful for each other. So we're gonna get into this episode. So it's pretty much about hustle and flow of the industry. We are going to have a very special guest. I love her so much. I went to college with her, so it's really funny that we're both still in the industry. I went to school for journalism, and I honestly think, Natasha, I was thinking back the other day, like 90% of my class isn't in journalism or doing anything in media. So
interesting.
Our next guest, Nicole Moss, she's still in it. She is feisty. We love to have feisty women that are in it to win it and hustling and killing it in the industry. She does sports talk radio. She has her own YouTube series where she interviews different athletes and just different public figures. So she's killing it. She is from New York, and she does not take no for an answer. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited.
I see a common theme with a lot of our guests. It's no one takes no for an answer, and everybody's from New York City.
I know. Natasha's like, do we need to move to New York? I mean, not right now, because, you know, not the healthiest time to move there.
We're gonna have to have like our studio production or a second home there in the near future, hopefully.
But all right, I think we should just bring, you know, Ashley in. I don't know about you.
I'm super excited to have her on, and I can't wait for her to share all of her stories, because I feel like she can bring a lot of insight to a lot of you guys that are listening. So let's welcome her with open arms.
Ashley, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on today.
Of course, thank you for having me. FAU in the building.
I know. So I told everyone a little bit. We went to journalism school together, and we were in a bunch of classes together. She graduated the semester before me, but I always knew her like as this badass girl who was like, I'm gonna do sports. This is what it's gonna be. And she's doing it now.
We're doing the climb. We're taking the climb.
It's so crazy. I said too how like 90% of our graduating class isn't in media, basically. So we made it. We're here.
We're definitely, which is interesting that you bring that up, because I think I was on LinkedIn the other day, and I go on LinkedIn like randomly to see like a bunch of like what everyone's doing, and it's true. A lot of people have taken like more of like the clerical route of maybe working in media, but not necessarily like hands-on, maybe more of like front office type stuff or things like that. So it's really interesting to see kind of how everyone's goals were so different before graduation, and then how life comes at you and you're like, okay, well, gotta readjust, and then some just stick to the plan, and it's interesting. But you know, shout out to everyone who graduated with us. FAU, love that program. It was a really good time.
So going forward, Ashley, so you've been killing it since like the day you graduated. You're now on iHeart Sports Talk Radio. Your Instagram just says like girl that knows sports, and I'm like, yes, she does. She knows it. And I'm like, honestly, every time I like look at your Instagram, I'm just like mic drop, because it's so true. And to be a girl who knows about sports but is confident and like doesn't take the bullshit from the guys, like that's rare. So I applaud you. Every time I see you killing it, I'm like, yes, sis, like you are doing it.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it definitely it's been a long time coming. I think, you know, when I was, and you actually followed the internship after me. When I was in college, when I was probably a junior, is when I started working at the CW down here in South Florida, SFL TV, and that was entertainment, and I was never really an entertainment girl. That wasn't really something that interests me. But it was a step in the right direction. And Dave, you know, he ended up who was my boss at the time, he was also the host of the show, and he ended up getting sick and had to step away from his hosting duties. And the internship really was just kind of video production and learning behind the scenes things. So it was like a production assistant / video assistant. When he got sick, they were basically like, so can you do this? And I was like, yes, totally, let's do it. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I've never like done like press junkets and things like that. I've never done like, you know, show teasers and things like that, which is where you're teasing the different programs that are coming up on the station. But they asked me, and I was like, yeah, totally, I can totally do it. Let's do it. And I did it for like 3 months until he came back, and it kind of helped me to facilitate and maneuver and be prepared for things that followed it. And I think that's really important. I think I tell people that all the time. When you're young, just say yes to as many things as you possibly can, because the more experience you get, you're going to be able to start gearing out, and you're going to start dishing out rather more no's, and be more comfortable and be in a position where you can do that. But when you're young, when you're 20, 21 years old, and you're in college and you're learning and you're growing, just say yes to as many things. Even if you don't know how to do it, figure it out. Like, when you're doing it, just figure it out. So.
Oh my God. I have been in so many situations where you just have to freaking figure it out. I did iHeart Fiesta red carpet, and half the artists didn't speak English, and I don't speak Spanish. So I
at that, and I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I don't speak a lick of it. So I had to, you know, figure it out. So I had to, each person who came down, I had asked the publicist. So I was like, you know what, can they do an interview in English? If not, can I ask in English? And they answer in Spanish? Like, there was just so many things that we had to figure out. Mind you, that red carpet was also like a 10-hour red carpet, I want to say. It was insane. And I totally had shin splints at the end of it, but it was worth it. But yeah, I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to roll with it, because, you know, what else am I going to do? Stand here and not get any content? That's like not an option in our position.
So how'd you get through it?
I did that. I literally, you know, I had to have the publicist come by and be like, can your, you know, artist speak English? And if so, yes, great.
He's your translator.
If no, can I ask the questions in English? Will they answer in Spanish?
You're like, what's your favorite margarita?
Well, it was iHeart Fiesta, so I asked like a lot of them. I was like, what's your favorite like Fiesta move? And they loved it. They're like, ooh, I'll show you. And I was like, amazing, great. This is going to be a great boomerang, a great clip for social. Like, I was dancing and partying with everyone, and everyone on the other side of the carpet was just like, get it, girl. Like, Blondie figured it out.
Yeah, they're like, white girl can dance.
Yeah.
So Ashley, you tell us like your timeline. So right after you graduated, like what was your first job, and like, kind of like how it's progressed up until now.
So I worked the CW up until graduation, and they asked me if I wanted to continue working through the summer. So I was working that job through the summer. At the time, Generation Next, which was a show on NBC6, which basically followed the youth football programs in South Florida and covered them, was going on, and it was on TV. Now it's web-based, but back then it was TV. And I knew a few people who had worked there. So like Joy Taylor had worked there. My friend Amina had worked there. MJ Acosta, who is out on the NFL Network, had worked there. And I know Dave and Joy had done a project together. So I had asked him, I was like, so can you get the contact information for her? I would love to know who's in charge over there so I can like send them like my demo reel. Mind you, my first demo reel was terrible. Like it was all these like SFL clips. I didn't know how to do my makeup. I tanned way too much. My hair was always a mess. Like, looking back on it, I was like, what? I don't even know how it was anything, like how I was even able to use that. Jonah, who ran the show, really liked what he saw. God bless his heart. I don't know why, but he did. I ended up signing on to Generation Next immediately after SFL ended. My internship with them ended, and I was there I was supposed to be just a silent reporter / production assistant, and then one day the host of that show had something she had to do. Like she also worked on radio, so it was a scheduling conflict, and she couldn't make it to filming. They asked me if I could fill in for her. The episode aired. NBC liked it, and they said, we want to replace her with, we want to replace current host with Ashley, which did not go over well to this day.
Little like side part, if the network likes you, that's it. Like if like this situation is what you hear about, like that is what everyone says. If you are trying to be in this industry, you basically start as what Ashley did, and if you get the chance to do an episode and they like you, you're in and the other's out. Just a little sidebar. All right, guys, we are super excited because this episode is brought to you by Formula Z Cosmetics. They are sponsoring this episode. And I mean, you guys know how much we love shimmer. I have the Amaze Glaze in Comet Me Bro on my lips and on my cheeks. And then I also have the Luxe Diamond Gloss in Prodigy on my lips over the Amaze Glaze. And it is amaze.
It is amaze. There's no understatement there. I love the names of these. Come at me, bro. And I also got the Amaze Glaze in UFO Glow. This is amazing for like any of you festival girls. It's like super glowy, like it has like a green hue to it. It's a good highlight. It's good eyeshadow. And I also got the Diamond Gloss, which is full of glitter, which we love that here at Millennial Girls.
Oh, we love it. And if you want to use our discount code, put in Millennial Girls on Formula Z Cosmetics at checkout, and you will get 10% off your entire order.
Mind you, at the time, I'm like, 22? It had just graduated. And this was back, the show, like, it was, I don't want to say low budget, but I mean, it wasn't ESPN. So like, we didn't really have there were times we didn't have a teleprompter. I get the script like 30 minutes before showtime and have to memorize it.
Yep.
So I think everyone was amazed by how well my memory worked or like how I was able to just kind of wing it. But yeah, they saw the episode, they liked it. And for me, being 22 years old and not really having that confidence yet, and not really wanting to step on anybody's toes, it was definitely a weird situation to maneuver because I just came in to kind of do one job. Then I covered for this woman who's been working for this show for a couple seasons now. She had been there at least 4 or 5 seasons. And now they want me to take her job, and she knows it, but she still has to finish the season. She's the current season. They're allowing her to finish it. So, the next few filmings was very awkward for me because it was like, I didn't do this. I just did what they asked me to. And I did that show for like 2 or 3 seasons. And when I hit 24, it was very, very fortunate. I went from being on TV at SFL, being on TV for NBC6. And then when Generation X ended, it kind of was like, there was nothing. There was like a flat line. And I think that's everybody in this business goes through that at some point in their career, where it's kind of like you're so involved and you're living in the moment and you're enjoying where you are that you kind of forget to think about the next step, because you think, oh, I'm just gonna be able to jump to the next job after this, and then it doesn't happen like that. And for me, I was in that space where it was like I was doing like little things here and there to try to like keep, you know, my name out there, my brand out there, because I had built something so quickly. It was like a roller coaster, just went up really, really fast. And there was nothing, and I had to actually go and get like a legit job while pursuing like what I wanted to do. And then I started doing documentaries, and from there, one of the documentaries was something that they were showcasing at iHeart. They wanted to interview me about it. I go on to iHeart, do the interview about myself, what I do, and, you know, the documentary. They hear my voice and they hear my interaction with the host at iHeart, and they call me probably like a week later. Have you ever been interested in doing radio? And, you know, I did radio at FAU. You know, we did that class, and then I also did hour radio. But for me, I was always a TV girl. I never did radio. And I was like, I mean, I guess I've never really done it, but I'd be interested in trying it. And then the rest kind of, I started going there 2 days a week, shadowing, learning, just kind of getting my feet wet. They offered me a job by April. So it was February when I got there. I got offered a position in April. I was on 103.5 The Beat for like 5 or 6 months. Football season came around. I went to my boss and I said, hey, I would love to be on sports radio in any aspect. Is there a space for me? I ended up joining 940 Wins for the Greek Zone, and then that's where I am now. So kind of like a little roller coaster wave going on there.
If there's anything that, you know, this industry does to you, it's you are on an emotional roller coaster, but it's so worth it if this is what you want to do. And I mean, I didn't know you were, because obviously we don't like show it on social or whatever, that you were, you know, kind of flatlined and got a 9-to-5. I had to do the same thing. I don't even think, no one knows this. So in between when I left the Panthers to when I got the job at the radio station, I was working at World of Beer. I was doing their social media. Yeah, I was literally doing their, taking pictures of like burgers and beers and like making it artsy. And everyone was like, oh my God, wait, you're on my iPhone, of course, because I was literally using portrait mode and taking pictures of like waffles and like, I mean, it was great. I also ate free food, so that was amazing. But like, no one knew. I had to have an income somehow. Like also with sports, like when my Panthers role was seasonal. So it changed though when I was digital host. I had my job through like August, or July. So between July and October when I got hired at the station, I was working at World of Beer and just doing freelance stuff. Like you had said, you know, random videos and digital stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing that no one ever talks about unless you're asked is like, oh, well, I had to do this side hustle. I was also teaching dance. Like, you gotta hustle. And I think also one thing I finally had come to realization about is like, don't be ashamed of your side hustle.
There you go.
That's it. And I don't know if you guys remember, so there was this video that was posted, I forgot when it was actually, of the singing cashier.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on TV shows growing up in Broadway.
It was on, it was a Trader Joe's guy, and he was on the Cosby Show.
The Cosby Show, that's what it. And I saw that article, and people were shaming him, and I was so mad. And then that is when I had the realization that I was like, why the hell am I ashamed that I teach dance? Why am I ashamed that I'm doing this? Like, I have to make money somehow. Like, I cannot. I mean, luckily, you know, my parents live here, so I could live with them, but why am I ashamed? And I did a whole video on my YouTube channel, and I talked about it, and I had never, like, sat in front of the camera before on my YouTube channel and just talked about a situation, and that was the first time, and I got so much good feedback about it, and I was like, why am I ashamed? Like, and everyone had texted me and was like, you're so right, because I have so many friends, and I'm sure you do too, all of us do, in the industry, still doing a side hustle, even if they have a good contract, because you still aren't making necessarily what you know, should be until you get a big contract.
When Generation X had ended, I almost didn't want to get a job that was not in my career, because it was almost like, not that it was below me, but I almost felt as though it was like, how am I going to do this? Like, I was just on TV, and that's being ashamed of it, that I had to kind of go back to the real world after being kind of away from it for so many years. And it almost felt like a failure, if you will, like I had failed. And I was so ashamed of actually having to go and apply for jobs that were not what I want. I mean, I worked at an optical, like it was so far away from what I was doing. And it's this feeling of feeling ashamed and embarrassed. And I remember, like, you know, even working at the optical, I remember like it was so bad that if someone came, and it wasn't the job, I don't want to make it seem like working at an optical is demeaning, because it's not.
Right.
When someone would come into the store that I recognized or who knew me and knew that what I was doing, I would literally go hide. Like I would go to the bathroom or I go to the break room, just because I was so embarrassed to be going from being on TV and having that kind of notoriety, if you will, or being on that high, to kind of being knocked down and going to the real world. And I worked that job. It wasn't like a 6-month thing and then bam, iHeart came. I was at that job for 2 years, like, because when I ended Generation Next, I was 24. I didn't get iHeart until I was 26. So like in between that, I was still doing things, but it wasn't consistent enough to where I could just be like, all right, cool. You know, I needed to work. I needed health insurance. I needed, you know, the things that people need to survive. And it was a tough time at that point, because you kind of feel like you're going backwards instead of moving forward. And I'm sure, like you said, a lot of people go through that, like a lot.
Yeah, no, for sure. Even in my experience, I didn't primarily come from, you know, broadcast media. Like she was saying, my background was more in marketing, advertising. My degree was in advertising. So I had a little touch of it, but I didn't get like full force into that. Mind you, I was a dancer. I was performing on stage. So I had still that stage presence and being able to talk and everything. But I had my moment too, where it was like, I needed $1 to my name because I got to a situation. I started doing DoorDash. I did not tell anyone that I was driving my car around to go pick up food and deliver it to people. That, mind you, it was a very interesting experience. I can tell you all about it, but
oh, I'm sure.
Going to people's doors and like seeing who they are, or like some people would tip you extra. Like, just, it was very interesting. But yeah, that was like my side hustle for a minute, and then I kind of got thrown into hospitality. Again, it was a choice at the time, and I was bartending, and I was honestly loving it, and it was extremely rewarding for me in that period. So it wasn't so much like a humbling experience. It was more, I don't know, like I got like good feedback. They valued me there. So it was like a nice environment for me. But yeah, that was kind of like where I had shifted. And then I went back into like the marketing and social, because the opportunity presented itself. And I kind of have a similar story to you, where it was, I went in doing social media and doing the digital stuff first. Slot opened, they asked me to fill in, and then it was history from there. So again, I think like in your case, and I think in most of our cases, especially if you're still, you know, continuing to do what it was that you ultimately want to do, whatever your goal was, you know, keep trying, keep doing it, keep, you know, looking for it. Like, just because you're doing that side hustle or something that you don't love to do to make ends meet, or you have bills to pay or children to take care of, you can still, you know, reach for that and look at how it turned out for you. You know, 2 years later, you ended up getting another opportunity in what you wanted to do. So
no, and I think also just not being ashamed of it. I think, you know, there's this like, and, you know, social media based too, because nobody really showcases their lows. Like, it wasn't like when I was working at the optical, I was like, hey guys, so no longer working at NBC, but here I am selling, like, it. You don't show that. So a lot of people think like you've always consistently been working in the industry that, you know, is all over your Instagram page. And I think, you know, we're all guilty of that. I don't think people are comfortable with showcasing their lows. I think in hindsight, when you're kind of in a space where you're a little bit more happy with where you are, you're a little bit more, you know, willing to talk about it and talk about the experience now that it's in the past. But when you're in the moment, it's really hard to kind of share that information with other people, because you yourself are still trying to like figure it out, and you're still trying to like come to terms with like the season that you're in. But I'm like a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. And I know that's like such a pain in the ass, like cliche thing to say. And people, when they're in the moment, they're like, I'm not trying to hear that right now. Okay, like I don't care that it's happening for a reason. I'm dealing with it and it's annoying and I get it. But, you know, always in the back of your mind, no one's saying for you not to feel what you're feeling, whether it's depression or you're angry or you're frustrated, but nothing lasts forever. And it's just about kind of powering through it, as difficult as it may be. And some days you wake up and you're like, there were so many times that in that space where I was like, am I even is it like, maybe I should just do something else? And I think everyone comes to that kind of like mindset. Like, maybe I should just do something else. Like, if it was meant for me, would it be this difficult? You know what I mean?
That is exactly it.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many times I have had that conversation with myself, because after leaving the Panthers to getting the job at the station for 3 months or 4 months, I literally was like, if it was meant for me, I feel like it would have happened already. Like, why isn't it happening? And that was something that I swear to God, I would have this conversation with myself every day. I'd be like, do I do this? But like, what else would I even do? Because I don't even know how to do anything else. This is all I know. Like, I literally teach dance. I know how to do that because I danced my whole life, or I know how to talk for a living. Like, there's actually no in between. And it was just every single day me being like, no, you're meant to do this. Like, keep reaching out to people, keep applying to jobs, keep staying. I think importance too is really just staying relevant. And going back to social media, we're lucky now that we have social media, because you know what I mean? Like, okay, we made this podcast during global pandemic because we're like, well, what are we going to do? We got to keep it going. So It's definitely one of those things that you kind of got to be hesitant about, like, putting too much on social and being overly positive when your life is a mess, because people like honesty. We talked about that with one of our guests in our episode 3. She was like, people like honesty. Like, if you're having a bad day, share it. If you're having anxiety, share it. But I think for us, because we're public figures, it's difficult for us to do that, because people want to be like, oh my God, her life is so perfect. Like, everything's amazing, magical unicorns. And it's not.
This comes with age. In the beginning, you're trying to figure things out and you're trying to learn and you're trying to grow and you're trying to build your own brand and trying to build, especially for women, it's hard. I feel like women don't really, you hit a switch after 25. And I feel like your confidence and your willingness to kind of stand your ground on certain things changes. I was so scared to step on anyone's toes. I was so scared to be honest. I was so scared to speak my truth, because I'm still trying to figure me out, and I'm trying to make sure that all these people, they like me and I'm well received, and I'm this and I'm that, and that's exhausting. You cannot please everybody. You know what I mean? It just does not happen. Nina Simone had an amazing quote, and it's not verbatim, but basically, you'll give everything away you have trying to please everybody else. And it's so true. And when I hit 25, it was almost like a light switch. And it was like, this is who I am. This is how I do things. Even when it came to reporting, if you look at earlier footage of me, my hair was always straight. I was, trying to dilute my New York accent as much as possible, because I didn't want to be deemed as unintelligent or ghetto or this or that. And when I hit 25, I remember watching old clips of me, and I just was like, I don't even know this person. Like, who is this? Like, this is not me. And when you hit 25, and especially for women, you just get more comfortable in your space and who you are. And I think that's so important, is that we're honest and we keep it real. And I find that when I keep it real and I'm authentic, I feel like people are more inclined to kind of lean in and listen more and be intrigued more and want to follow me more, because I'm keeping it real about this. Is not everyone's blessed to go from college to ESPN. It does not work like that. There's only one Erin Andrews. Like, there's
Thank you.
And even Erin Andrews, her dad is an Emmy Award-winning broadcaster out in Gainesville or Tampa, one of those places. So it's not, not everyone has that same path, and that's okay,
Oh, do you understand why I literally love Ashley so much? Why she's been in my life for this many years? I mean, Ashley, you're literally the best. I hope that this episode just inspires so many people, especially girls who want to go into journalism and sports talk radio, or even the industry, or anything really. You're the absolute best. Thank you so much for joining us. I can't believe episode 7. Guys, it's a wild ride. Thank you for being on.
It's really cool that you guys are doing this, really.
Thank you so much. Plug all your social media.
just make sure you guys follow. I keep it real simple at Ash Nicole Moss on Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you guys follow my YouTube channel, All In with Ashley Nicole. That link is in my Instagram bio as well. And make sure you guys listen to 941's 3 to 5 p.m. The Greek Zone. So
love it. And this is what we say here at Millennial Girls. We say peace, love, and unicorns.
Okay, I like it. Peace, love, and unicorns.
Love it. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you so much.